Now it was Nimrod who excited them to such an affront and contempt of God. He also said he would be revenged on God if he should have a mind to drown the world again, for that he would build a tower too high for the waters to reach.
Welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel. My name is Utikas if you are new. So without wasting any time, let's get to the video.
Given the scant information about Nimrod and the lack of any historical evidence, the number of myths and legends attributed to him is astounding. The fact that the name survives today, regardless of its association, is a feat in itself. As the supposed founder of Babylon, amongst other ancient Mesopotamian cities, Nimrod is often credited with being the founder of human civilization. However, many also paint him as an egomaniacal tyrant who built the Tower of Babel in defiance of God. But the stories don't end there. According to some internet sources, Nimrod was a Nephilim giant who built Babylon with divine technology and, aided by extraterrestrials, constructed a space-time travel portal called the Tower of Babel.
What do you guys think about that? Yeah, very far-fetched, but yeah, I'd like to hear your thoughts.
With so many post-biblical tales linked to Nimrod, the only way we can fully explore this legend is by reviewing the traditions and stories about him. Hebrew and Christian cultures firmly placed Nimrod as the king who ordered the construction of the Tower of Babel. Several Judaic sources cite that King Amraphel, Abraham's rival in Genesis, is really Nimrod, which echoes Islamic beliefs about the king who wars with Abraham. Jewish scholar and priest Flavius Josephus was amongst many ancient historians to rewrite and embellish biblical stories. He attributed the building of the Tower of Babel to Nimrod, writing, "Now it was Nimrod who excited them to such an affront and contempt of God. He also said he would be revenged on God if he should have a mind to drown the world again, for that he would build a tower too high for the waters to reach." Now the multitude were very ready to follow the determination of Nimrod and to esteem it a piece of cowardice to submit to God, and they built a tower. When God saw that they'd acted so madly, he caused a tumult among them by producing many diverse languages. The place wherein they built the tower is called Babylon, because of the confusion of that language. For the Hebrews mean by the word Babel, confusion. Josephus wrote this around 2100 years ago. However, we should also remember that he was adding to an already ancient story. While the dating of Genesis is highly contested, Babylon was founded around 2300 BCE. So more time has passed since the founding of Babylon and the birth of Josephus than between Josephus's death and today. Other contemporaries of Josephus interpreted the line, "a mighty hunter before the Lord," to mean that he was in opposition to the Lord, and he is described as the archetypal wicked king. Supposedly, as a young man, Nimrod possessed the garments of Adam, which gave him supernatural powers to subdue any animal and sway people. This story greatly influenced his reputation as a mighty hunter and enabled him to entice people into idolatrous worship. His name has also been linked to a Hebrew word for rebel, Marad. Some scholars believe that this implies that he was given the name Nimrod because of his rebellion against God, and that Nimrod was not his original name, but instead a description of his character. In Jewish and Islamic traditions, Nimrod clashes with Abraham. Nimrod sets about killing infant boys after being told by diviners that a new baby would challenge his power. However, Abraham manages to escape the call. Many stories surround this conflict. One such story details how Abraham confronts Nimrod about his idolatry, and Nimrod orders that Abraham be burned at the stake. Some accounts detail the exchange between Abraham and Nimrod, in which Nimrod commands Abraham to worship fire.
Yeah, where is this guy getting all this information? It'd be better if he placed a few sources for whatever he's saying, but maybe he does at the end. Let's see.
Abraham retorts that they should worship water, since water puts out fire. Abraham then leads Nimrod down a logical path of honoring clouds that hold the water, or wind which blows the clouds, and finally lands on worshiping humans. Some say that Abraham's reasoning is because humans can withstand wind, and others claim that it was because the word for wind was synonymous with the term for the human spirit. Whatever Abraham's reasoning, Nimrod became angry and accused Abraham of playing with words, declaring that he only worshiped fire. He ended his rant with an order that Abraham be cast into his furnace. For 4 years, Nimrod's subjects gathered firewood, yet Abraham walks away unscathed when the fire is lit. In the Quran, Abraham discusses the power of God with an unnamed king, and many assign the role to Nimrod. Abraham states that Allah gives life and causes death, after which the king asserts that he is the one who gives life and causes death. Abraham then angers the king by challenging him to bring up the sun in the west, as Allah brings it up in the east. However, according to Genesis genealogy, Nimrod and Abraham may have lived up to 300 years apart. Nimrod was the great-grandson of Noah, but several generations separate Abraham from his forefather Shem, who was Noah's son. The issue of time can be resolved due to the long lifespans described in Genesis. It is said that Shem and his descendants lived for up to 500 years. The Bible does not detail the age of Ham or Cush when they have their children, and since Nimrod was part of this family, by the same logic, he could have been hundreds of years old when Abraham was born. Nimrod also appears in Kitab el-Magal, an early Arabic work. This work adds more details to Nimrod's life, saying he reigned for 69 years and that he received divine inspiration to commission and wear the first crown ever worn by a king, and that he and his followers worshipped fire and idolatry. Speculation about Nimrod is still rife, with some suggesting that he was the Mesopotamian hero Gilgamesh, citing similarities between the two legendary figures. The story of Gilgamesh seems to parallel that of Noah and the flood. Gilgamesh comes from Erech, a city included in Nimrod's kingdom, and it could be argued that they are from the same era. Both Nimrod and Gilgamesh are described as mighty warriors and great builders, and both are concerned with the return of a great flood. The link between Nimrod and the Hebrew word for rebel is also cited, with some believing that Gilgamesh's name was deliberately omitted. Instead, he is just referred to as the rebel. However, as the stories of Nimrod's rebellion as retribution for God's flood came centuries after the original mention of Nimrod in Genesis, it is possible that inspiration for Nimrod's backstory came from oral traditions concerning Gilgamesh. Another claim that links Nimrod to Babylonian texts is that the tales of Nimrod inspired the Babylonian god Marduk. As Nimrod, NMRD, is related to the word Marad, MRD, it isn't too much of a stretch to connect the name to Marduk. Marduk was also portrayed as a hunter, warrior, and king, pointing to further similarities between the two figures. It seems that myth continues to follow the name, even today. Modern legend has it that Bugs Bunny, or Daffy Duck, was the first to turn the name Nimrod into an insult by using the moniker to describe Elmer Fudd. However, like with most other stories about Nimrod, nothing is proven, and no one has been able to identify the episode in which this supposed slur occurred. Perhaps the name Nimrod is destined to be unexplainably dragged through the mud. After all, there doesn't seem to be much supporting evidence for the move from someone described as a mighty warrior and hunter to a tyrannical king obsessed with defying God. When reviewing the myths concerning Nimrod, the only clear thing is that Nimrod is an enigmatic figure, equal parts evil king and mighty hero. He continues to capture people's attention to this day. So, if anyone ever does call you a Nimrod, you can easily take it as a compliment.
Yeah, and that's the end of the video, and it was pretty short, and I don't think I've ever heard of this guy before, but I do know it's like a form of an insult, but it's fun to see where this name could have possibly come from. And yeah, what are your thoughts when it comes to Nimrod and Babylon and its tower? And it's just a fun video about history and religion, and I like videos like this one. And I leave the link to this guy's original channel. If you're a history nerd, you will have a lot of fun there. But yeah, what do you think about the theory that the story of Noah and his ark is similar to Gilgamesh and his adventures? and I've had a lot of people compare them and say they're just one in the same. But and I'd like to hear your thoughts when it comes to this. Yeah, but yeah, thank you for watching. If you did watch this far, and I'm not going to be uploading for a while. I'm going on holiday. Right, I'm going for holiday. Just from school, and yeah, I'll see you when I'll be back. But yeah, see you amazing people in the next video.